Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the introductions because we are jam-packed today with the Power of the Pillar Religious Life program today. We are absolutely delighted that you are joining us. My name is Jeannie Fleming-Gifford. I'm the Vice President of Programming at Lakeside, Chautauqua. And on behalf of our team, it is just a pleasure to welcome you to this Lakeside online program. Today, we are in for such a treat, featuring Reverend Dr. Charlie Yoost, as well as our wonderful host today, Hannah Brainerd, who I'll be introducing in just a minute. Just a couple of basic household or housekeeping reminders today, as I've mentioned, as people have been logging on. One is that we do appreciate you staying muted unless you're being asked to speak, etc., so we can make sure everyone can hear all of the sharing that will happen today. The use of speaker view is encouraged, which is in the upper right-hand part of your screen. As I noted, if you click on view, that will give you the option. You can change to speaker view. Also, we love when people contribute and to the conversation, etc. And the chat is the perfect way to add comments, etc. We will be monitoring those, and we will certainly try to get to any of those questions, etc. during today's session. The chat is at the bottom in the middle, and if you click on that, you can put information in there as friends are doing and noting where they are Zooming from today. And it's so nice to have people from all over joining us. As a reminder, you don't have to be a Lakesider to join us for any of these sessions. We are having a great time connecting with lots of people, some who have never been to Lakeside before, but we certainly hope they'll include us in this year's plans. All right, we are ready to jump into today. And today, the Power of the Pillar is the first of a 4-part series we'll be doing to showcase each of the pillars of the Lakeside Chautauqua experience. Our why we're doing this, there's several reasons. We know that the pillars are the unique feature of the Chautauquas. They are what makes the Chautauqua experience the Chautauqua experience. And so we really wanted to give kind of a behind the scenes kind of sneak peek. Over the last 18 months, we have had a dynamic visionary group of community leaders envisioning programming for the sesquicentennial. And those community members have worked hand in hand with our programming team. And now we are ready to start rolling out what this upcoming season is going to look like. What has been driving us is this theme of building community since 1873. And so all of our programming that we're choosing, we are continuing being thoughtful about how that supports that theme of building community. And of course, one of the key ways that we build and connect as a community is through our religious life programming. And we are so proud of the numerous programs that are offered each week under the leadership of Reverend Dr. Charlie Yoost, and with a wonderful team. Some of them are joining us today online, and of course, it is definitely a collaborative effort that makes the magic happen. So I am going to turn it over to our host today, who is going to be leading and facilitating this conversation with Charlie and some of our special guests. And our wonderful host today is Hannah Brainerd. Hannah is the marketing project manager at Lakeside Chautauqua. I asked her to send me 3 fun facts about her today to introduce her. And she just sent them to me a couple of minutes ago. I said, oh, I was planning to make up a bunch of really fun stuff. So I actually have some facts to share. 2023 will mark Hannah's seventh summer with Lakeside Chautauqua. She has been with our team 2.5 years full-time capacity as the marketing project manager. She is a 5th generation Lakesider. I did not know that, Hannah. I love that. Her great-great-grandparents met at Lakeside in the 1890s, and they later purchased the family cottage on Sycamore in 1940. One of my favorite things this last summer was seeing Hannah and her grandmother enjoying many concerts together and programming. And her last fun fact she shared me. Oh yeah, I'm telling Hannah, you and we're going to be playing this summer. Hannah also plays the ukulele as I play the ukulele. And so you might just see us out on Walnut Plaza this summer, jamming together. And anybody can come and sing with us. So Hannah, thank you so much for being our hostess today. And thank you for all you do for Lakeside. I'll turn it over to you.
Goodness. Thank you, Jeannie, so much. That's such a kind introduction. Actually, I brought my ukulele, so for the next hour, no, I'm just kidding. Thank you for the introduction, and I'm so blessed to be a part of the Lakeside team and work with this incredible programming team. What Jeannie and Charlie have done this summer, along with the Sesquicentennial Committee, I see a few of you on here, Cindy. It's just fantastic. So I'm really excited that you've taken an hour out of your Sunday afternoon to dive into some of the fantastic religious life programming. I'm excited to have the opportunity to introduce the man who needs no introduction. Reverend Dr. Charlie Yoost has been with Lakeside for 5 years as the Senior Director of Religious Life and Pastoral Care. And I've been so blessed to work with him in a few different capacities over the last couple of years and really see this man in action. So first, just a round of applause for everything that he does for Lakeside. So thank you so much, Charlie. Before we dive in, would you be willing to open us up in prayer?
Certainly, and I'm excited to be part of this afternoon, and thank you for both of your gracious introductions of me. Let's bow our heads together in prayer. Oh Lord, for many, this is a snowy afternoon, but we thank you that through the miracle of technology, we can be together to talk about Lakeside, place that we love so much and the place that inspired so many people through the years. We thank you that 150 years ago, folks envisioned a place where folks could come apart, or they could come and relax, and they could come and have spiritual and physical and emotional renewal. We thank you for this place for those that have labored through the years, and especially for our Sesquicentennial Committee that has brought together so many exciting programs for this coming season. We ask that you would be with all those who are on our call today. We especially remember those who are going through hard times and those who are mourning the loss of loved ones. We ask, Lord, that you be with us not only this day, but every day as we seek to grow together in faith and hope and love. This we pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Charlie. So my first question for you, so your time working at Lakeside has been about 5 years, but your Lakeside story goes well beyond that. Could you give us just an overview of your connection with Lakeside?
Sure. My Lakeside connection goes way back. My grandmother brought my dad to Lakeside via steamboat from Cleveland, where they lived, to Lakeside, Chautauqua, many, many years ago. And then because my dad was a United Methodist pastor, the conference met at Lakeside every summer. So I have literally been going to Lakeside my whole life, every summer, first as a pastor's child, and then when I became ordained as a pastor myself, and now as a Lakeside employee. So I kind of had a gamut of experiences at Lakeside. The most significant thing that happened at Lakeside for me, well, there was two, I guess I should say. That my ordination was at Lakeside in Hoover Auditorium. And then in the back of Hoover Auditorium, when I was a seminary student, I met a young woman who was the president of the youth delegation at the time, and that was Barbara Richards. And after we met, we took a walk on Lakeside's most beautiful mile, and the rest is history. And a couple of years later, I married her. And that's Barb. And I've asked Kip Greenhill if he would put a plaque in the back of Hoover Auditorium at the place where we met. And Kip has a great sense of humor, so he always laughs and says that he will. But anyway, so that's kind of my Lakeside story in a nutshell. But besides that, when I retired from Church of the Savior in Cleveland Heights after 17 years as senior pastor there, and then that was in 2015. And in 2018, when Ned Dwyer retired from Lakeside being the director of religious life, Kevin Sibring asked me if I would come on in that capacity. And it was a wonderful transition in terms of Ned was so helpful in getting me on board. And so I've been at Lakeside for 5 years, and I'm enjoying that time very much. And it's a pleasure. And I want to say, and I'll probably say it more than once, that the people that I work with are what makes it such a great experience. And it's a great team, and I love being there. So that's kind of my Lakeside story in a nutshell.
Thanks, Charlie. And I feel the same way working with you guys. I see Barb on this call. Would you mind doing a little wave? And we're working on that plaque. It's going to be up stat. Real quick, I just want to share a couple photos that Charlie sent of his family enjoying Lakeside, the grandkids. I just can't. I've seen them grow up over the last few years, and it's just incredible. Charlie, the religious life pillar is one of 4 amazing Chautauqua pillars that have been so integral in Lakeside's history. Would you mind telling us a little bit about the history and the impact of the religious life pillar at Lakeside?
Sure. I would like us to think about, it's a snowy day, but there was a day in the winter of 1873 when a group of United Methodist pastors stood on the shore of Lake Erie, and they were struck by the beauty of it, and they saw the islands across the way there at the Lakeside, and they envisioned a place where people could come for the renewal of body, mind, and spirit. The year before, Cedar Point had been established, and they wanted Lakeside to be a place that was different. They wanted to emphasize the spiritual aspects. And so the next summer they had a camp meeting at Lakeside, and that was how the whole thing started. But from the beginning, the camp meeting was both social and spiritual. The people ate together. Some of the earliest cottages at Lakeside didn't have kitchens because they all ate together. And then within a couple of years, Hoover Auditorium, well, not Hoover Auditorium, the earlier auditorium was established. The hotel was established, and the Lakeside became a more permanent place. But it was envisioned as a special spiritual place, and I believe that it has continued to be that through the years. And I want to just give a small quote. It said Lakeside was supposed to be in the early material that Dave Bowling unearthed for me. He said it was to be distinctive in its work. That's from the highlights of the first camp meeting. And for 150 years, Lakeside has been, I believe, distinctive in its work to provide a place for renewal of body, mind, and spirit. And I pray that it continues to be so, of course, for the next 150 years.
Absolutely. Distinctive in its work completely. Charlie, could you tell us a little bit about some of the programs that we have today that still honor that mission of Lakeside?
Okay, we counted up, there's 15 programs a week that are sponsored by Religious Life. We start with the 8:30 worship service on Sunday morning, that now at the gazebo, used to be on the east deck of the pavilion. Now it was named after the Jenningses, who basically got that program going. And the program has gotten so large that we had to move, and it continues to grow each summer. And then Lakeside United Methodist Church offers a worship service not only during the summer, but year round. And that's important to note. And Karen Graham leads that and does a wonderful job as the pastor of Lakeside United Methodist Church. And then probably our signature program is the Hoover Worship Service on Sunday morning, where we bring in preachers from across the nation and indeed around the world. We have Vespers on Tuesday night with the preacher of the week bringing another message. We have the Sunday night service, praise and prayer, and John Wilkie is on our program, and he's going to be talking about that later on. We started this past summer the Roman Catholic Mass on Thursday evenings with Father Jim Pfeiffer, and Father Pfeiffer is a Lakesider himself, a wonderful spirit, and that program exceeded our expectations in the number of people that attend and the impact that it has. And then Monday through Thursday, we have Faith for Living, where the preacher of the week gives practical application of day-to-day lessons in Christian living. And that's every morning at 9 o'clock. In the afternoon, we have special seminars, and we'll talk more about some of those later on in the program. Brett Johnson leads the teen and youth program. And that program involves folks that are here just for the week, folks that are here for the whole summer, and then a number of Lakeside young staff that are here to work. Some of the folks are maybe 15, 16 and up, and he ministers with those people during the summer. Then we have a men's Bible study on Tuesday morning, a women's Bible study. We're very fortunate to have Reverend Tom Frost, a retired United Methodist pastor, who leads the centering prayer service each Thursday morning in front of Lakeside Hotel, and then throughout the year via Zoom. And then we have the Faith Walk devotional that was started by Dan Moulton, and folks have just completed writing for this. This is the 22 version. The 23 version is now being edited and prepared. We have the Labyrinth where folks can walk, and we have the Fresh Bread Dinner Church, which is a once-a-month outreach program, partly sponsored by the Peninsula Clergy and partly sponsored by Lakeside, that reaches out to the unchurched in an informal setting at Bistro 163, which is a Pay It Forward restaurant in Port Clinton. So those are just some of the things, but I've failed to mention two things that we're gonna lift up, and that is the God Squad program for the young children and the MGM program for the middle school kids. And we have Chip with us, or we will have, and we have John Wilkie, and possibly, I'm not sure if Bonnie is on or not, but they're going to talk to us at this time about what they do. And you may not realize it, but during the off season, both Chip and John and Bonnie are working to prepare for the next summer. And John and Bonnie prepare a curriculum for the middle school children. And I want to say, having grandchildren that are part of this program, that they really do a super job, not only of entertaining the kids, but of helping them learn their Bible. They learn about other people. They learn the values of friendship and things like that that are so important to all of us. So John, I know you're there somewhere. Unmute yourself and talk to us about MGM.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. Hey, John Wilkie from Atlanta, surrounded by 27,000 Legos in my little grandson's room. So that's probably why I'm not moving too much. I'm here helping take care of my daughter who is recovering from knee surgery. But we're excited about MGM as always, but this is a special year for us because this is year 20. And we're trying to figure out where all those years have gone. But here we are in year 20. We meet in Cherry Park, which is really convenient for us because we walk out our cottage that we bought 12 years ago now. And there we are. It takes a little bit of setup, but we're always good to go. If the weather is good that morning, that's where we'll meet. Or if it's rained the night before, if it's raining there, then we meet in the upper room, which is a little bit confusing sometimes because the upper room is also down there by the pavilions. So we've had a few people stop by looking for programs that were at the upper room. So it's the upper room above the world next door. And we're set up to meet there as well. That we did that until the pandemic hit. We meet from 9:30 to 11 each day, Monday through Thursday. And we have, as Charlie said, we have a curriculum that we write each year. I'm going to let Bonnie talk about that in just a minute. But we also do team building games, which we think is really important. The kids are having fun, but they don't even realize that they're learning how to work together, encouraging one another, listening to each other's ideas. And they quickly learn if they don't work together, they're going to lose. And then, of course, the other people get to eat candy and they don't. So anyway, they really seem to enjoy it. It seems like it's an Olympic event, sometimes as excited as they get. So we encourage any of you to walk by and see what we're doing down there. Don't come too close, though. We might put you to work. Each year we have a theme for our curriculum. For instance, one year it was LIP. God loves you, he's in control, and he has a plan for your life. And we wanted the kids to just vision that. Just remember, God's lip is right into your ear saying, I love you, I'm in control, and I have a plan. One year it was no mess, no message, or excuse me. Yeah, if there's no mess, no message. If there's no test, there's no testimony. And so we try to have a clever, acronym or some title that will be catchy and kind of catch people's interest. This year it's going to be different, as it always is. And I'm going to turn it over to my lovely wife, who I have not seen in 2 weeks because she's taking care of our other daughter in Florida and is just now back. So anyway, it's good to see her face on the screen. And I'll let her tell you about this year's theme. Go ahead, sweetie.
All right, so I've unmuted myself. Thanks for having us. This summer, our theme is joy. And the J stands for Jesus, O stands for other, and Y stands for you. And so we're going to be looking at Jesus, and we're actually going to look at what Jesus says about himself, who he says he is. So I am the good shepherd. I am the bread of life. I am the vine. And then our others is Jesus never intended for us to just know him for ourselves, but to be able to share with others, and not just share with words, but share with action. So as an entire youth ministry, last year and the year before, we collected the little plastic bottle caps that you guys were so gracious to bring to us, and we turned those into benches. This year, we're going to take pop tabs, which sometimes people go, well, why are you drinking pop? Well, you have those little tabs on lots of things. You can have those tabs on Ensure. You can have those little tabs on bubbly water. But we're going to be collecting just the tabs, not the cans, just the tabs. And those are going to go to the Ronald McDonald House, which has been a crucial part of one of our Lakesiders' lives. Chip's daughter had premature twins, and one of them died shortly after birth. The other one was in a hospital for a long period of time. And so they were able to use the services of the Ronald McDonald House. And so we thought, this is a good way for our kids to collect something that doesn't take as much room and as much planning and as much cleaning, and still be able to reach out to others. And then the Y stands for you. And we're going to be looking at how, in what Jesus says about who he is, how does he tell us to take care of ourselves so that we can be prepared to be able to share? So that's what we're doing. And when you did say that we develop relationships, that really is part of our whole goal, is that kids who come for the summer, who may come by themselves and don't know anybody else, will be able to connect with some other teens, other kids their same age, and be able to have those relationships throughout the week. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing this summer.
Thank you both. And our prayers are with your daughter and her family.
Thank you.
Through the miracle of technology, we're able to be together, even though you guys are in different places. And we sure appreciate not only what you're doing at Lakeside, but taking this time today. Bonnie and John, thank you so much for being with us and for what you do and for what you've continued to do. And of course, they also cook hot dogs on Wednesday night, and they do the prayer and praise service on Sunday night. And you see them helping out all over Lakeside all summer long. And we owe you a debt of gratitude, and we thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
My goodness. Thank you both. And I saw in the chat, Rich volunteered to help. I think that's what I read. Just is in awe of your ministry in Cherry Park. So thank you for all that you do. I love hearing you talk about your ministry, and Charlie, you too. Every time you talk about it, I learn more about the amazing things that happen in Lakeside. And each of you on this call are a part of that in some way too. So I actually have a question for the audience here. If you want to type in the chat, what are some of the religious life programs that you have enjoyed and been involved with? And while we're diving into that, we'll go ahead and jump into the Preachers of the Week. Charlie, you mentioned that that's one of the signature programs of the Religious Life Pillar, and we have a fantastic lineup for next year. So I'm going to pull up on the screen a list of some of our Preachers of the Week, and I'll ask you to highlight a few of them. Let me see.
There's my family. All right.
Oh.
They'll
They're
be
preaching next year.
they'll be preaching, but not in Hoover. Yeah. So yeah, there they are.
Okay.
As we're getting started with the preachers of the week, I want to say that, like I said, we love working together in the different pillars, and Shirley lined up for the Saturday night of Memorial Day weekend, Don't Stop Believing, the Journey tribute band. And Don't Stop Believing is a great segue to our Sunday morning preacher, who will be Brian McLaren, who has recently written the book, Do I Stay Christian, where he talks about why we should continue in the faith. And so Don't Stop Believing on Saturday night, and Don't Stop Believing on Sunday morning. And we want to go back to those programs that you enjoy. So Brian McLaren, who's a leading person in the emerging church movement, will be there on Memorial Day weekend, and we're excited to have him come. Then the very next week, we have 2 weeks, we have Bishop Ivan Abraham, who's coming all the way from South Africa, and he is the executive director of the World Methodist Council. Now, if the Methodist Church had a pope, Ivan Abraham would be the pope, because he is the head of the World Methodist Council, which encompasses not only United Methodist Church, but autonomous Methodist churches around the world. And he'll be with us that second week in June. And then I thought you would be interested in hearing that there's 2 preachers coming this summer that have strong Lakeside roots. The first one is Zach Hess, who grew up coming to Lakeside. He's now the pastor at Polaris Church in Columbus, and he'll be there, and he's bringing his 4 children with him this summer. And so God Squad will have an instant increase in attendance the week that Zach is with us. And then Reverend Catherine Willis Pershey grew up coming to Lakeside Institute, which many of us have been involved in. My wife and I were on the staff there for over 20 years. And Catherine Willis heard a call to the ministry while she was at Lakeside, and she's going to talk about that. She's now United Church of Christ pastor in a Chicago suburb, and she's written a book on marriage and family living. And she'll be there a week that there's high attendance of young families. I'm very excited to have Catherine come back to Lakeside and to share with us. And then Father Greg Boyle was with us 2 years ago, and he'll be back to talk about, well, he's written a new book called The Whole Language. But I just want to say that a couple of things about Father Boyle. First of all, he's bringing with him 2 homeboys this year, 2 of the graduates of his program, and we want to show them Lakeside hospitality at its best. We'll have somebody may want to volunteer to do this, to take these guys over to Cedar Point for the day. We want to show them the Marblehead Lighthouse. We want to show them around the peninsula. We want to give them a good, wonderful Lakeside experience. But I do want to say about Father Boyle that when he was there 2 years ago, we were outside because of COVID for our Faith for Living. And all of a sudden, in the middle of Faith for Living, a gentle rain started to fall. But his message was so intriguing and so compelling that nobody left, and nobody even put up an umbrella. Everybody just sat there in the rain and listened to Father Boyle until he finished his sermon. That's the kind of dynamic speaker he is. You just feel that you're in the presence of someone very holy and very special. And then we have Lillian Daniel coming back this summer, who wrote the book, and we'll have that. All these books will be, of course, at the Fine Print bookstore. She wrote the book, Tired of Apologizing for a Church I Don't Belong to. And she's since moved to Michigan, where she's become the United Church of Christ conference pastor, which is kind of like a bishop in the United Church of Christ. And she'll be back with us. And you see the other folks, all of them prominent, all of them dynamic. But we end the summer with Luke Whitty, who was with us last summer for a little basketball clinic, and then the story of what his basketball career, but he's going to come back to preach the sermon, and he's going to be there on Saturday afternoon to again lead another basketball clinic. And I plan to attend because I'm trying to get ahead of my grandson, who always beats me at basketball. So that's something. Really, it's for the kids, for the youth on Saturday afternoon, and we'll want him to come back on Sunday morning to hear Luke Whitty and his powerful message. You have to look up to Luke Whitty, first of all, because of course his inspirational messages, but also because he's 7 feet tall. And so most people like me have to look up to Luke Whitty. That's just a little joke. I can't hear you laughing because of course you're all muted. But anyway, I trust that you're all, I laugh at my own jokes, but I hope that you are too. So Hannah, back to you.
That's awesome. That picture, oh, well, now that I've stopped sharing my screen, the picture of Luke Whitty was actually of him at the basketball court with the kids, and you can see that they come up maybe to his waist. He is tall. But it's so inspirational to hear the stories of impact of these preachers of the week. So thank you so much, Charlie, for your work and getting them all to Lakeside. Segueing into some other programs, there's a religious life seminar series that we've started within the last couple of years, and there's some amazing programming coming to Lakeside. So Charlie, could you tell us a little bit about some of those programs?
Yes, I realized that at the last issue of the Lakesider, we had the Preachers of the Week. They were all listed, but you probably don't know about the seminars yet. And I know that the calendar of events is on its way, but since you haven't seen that, you may not be aware, or probably aren't aware of the seminars that we have planned. I'll just highlight some of them. First of all, Jamar Tisby will be with us, who is a leading scholar on the racism and the problems and the solutions of it. His book, The Color of Compromise, we used about 2 years ago in our work, and this year we're going to use his other book, How to Fight Racism. This is his new book, and this book will be reviewed by Bob and Cindy Grimm. That will be our next pillar, or next online program that will be going on. And I think at the end of the program, we're going to talk about that just briefly. But we want you to be aware of this significant person who's coming. I want you to think about the fact that as we talk about, and it's especially appropriate on our 150th year, we're bringing back a number of people who spoke at Lakeside in the past in one form or another. For example, there's going to be a person who's going to portray Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, I want you to think about the fact that when Eleanor Roosevelt came to Lakeside in 1940s, she came as a sitting president's wife, of course, and she also came not to share her chocolate chip cookie recipe, but she came to talk about racial injustice in this country. And think about the fact that 80 years later, we still need to talk about racial injustice. And so that's why Jamar Tisby is a joint program between education and religion, because this is not only a political problem in our country, this is a spiritual problem. And so this is something we all need to hear about. In like manner, and the Grimms are helping to sponsor that. In like manner, we have Kristen Cobes-Dumez coming from Calvin University, which is a conservative Christian university, but her book is causing a lot of interest. It's called Jesus and John Wayne on Christian nationalism. And again, another issue that we need to be thinking about as a society, and no matter which side of the political spectrum you're on, you need to be aware of this movement in our country. And I would thank Erwin and the late Janet Jennings for the sponsorship of this program this summer. And then we're going to have people talk about Billy Sunday, Phoebe Palmer, Howard Thurman, and Norman Vincent Peale, all who came to Lakeside in the past, and we're going to talk about their biographies. And then in August, we have Jack Harnish coming to talk about his book, 30 Days with E. Stanley Jones. And E. Stanley Jones has been touted as the greatest missionary since the Apostle Paul. Now, I don't know if we can make a statement that definitive about E. Stanley Jones, but he is definitely the most prominent missionary in the history of the Methodist movement. And so he'll be with us in the sense that his granddaughter will be coming to us via Zoom, and Jack Harnish will be talking about his book. He's done extensive research, and he'll be with us August 7th to 9th. And then the next week, Tom Albin, who's the former director and dean of the Upper Room Chapel, will be with us to lead a roundtable discussion. And this was something that was pioneered by E. Stanley Jones to bring together people of different faiths and to talk about their religion, the differences, the similarities, and how we can work together. And we'll have a Protestant or either a Protestant minister, Catholic priest, and a Jewish rabbi and a Muslim imam talking with Tom Alban about their faith, and we invite everyone to be part of that. And then finally, we have a speaker coming to talk about the history of the camp meeting, because like I said, Lakeside started as a camp meeting, and we'll talk about the history of the camp meeting, how it was both social and spiritual, and the movement that came out of that, Lakeside being one of those places where the camp meeting really took hold and changed people's lives. And just going right along with that, we're actually going to have a camp meeting on July 23rd. The Reverend Dr. Mike Slaughter will be with us, who's the pastor emeritus from Ginghamsburg United Methodist Church, a church that grew from 20 people to one of the largest mega churches in the United Methodist Connection under Mike's leadership. And he'll be with us on the lawn at Hotel Lakeside. We're going to have a tent. We're going to have choirs come in. We're going to have hopefully a huge evangelistic meeting there, not only to commemorate what happened 150 years ago, but to speak to people's lives today and how we live in the 21st century and make a difference the way the 19th century people did in their day. So those are some of just the highlights of what's going on with the religious life seminars, and that'll all be coming up this summer in the 150th season.
Charlie, hearing you talk about the camp meetings, it almost gives me goosebumps to think about how many people have been impacted in their faith at Lakeside and their spiritual journey. Just picturing them out on the Hotel Lakeside lawn, it's amazing. And that we're still continuing that today with programs in the camp meeting and such. One group that we've actually talked about that Lakeside is really impactful with Lakeside's youth. And I wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. I said to the staff last week when we had our retreat that the latest statistic is that post-COVID, and this is something that I had to hear twice before I could even kind of fathom it, but the post-COVID, the average Protestant church in America has 5 children involved. 5 children. If your church has more than 5 children, you're doing better than average. So most churches across the spectrum have 5 or less children. At Lakeside on 4th of July weekend last summer, when Chip Richter came in and took the kids out, the Pied Piper took the kids out for God Squad, would you believe that there were over 300 children that summer? Of course, they don't fit in Bradley Temple anymore. They have to be out in front in tents out on the street because there's so many children. And these children are being impacted with the faith and with the gospel. I believe that we probably have one of the largest groups of children on Sunday morning on 4th of July weekend of any place in America at Lakeside. And so we're making a difference in the next generation. We're starting with the children. We're moving to the middle school kids that John and Bonnie Wilkie just talked about. We're going to the high school kids with the camps. We're going to the young adults who work at Lakeside and take Lakeside with them to wherever they go. And I am already excited about this. I could get more excited, but we have, rather than for me just to tell about it secondhand, we have Chip Richter with us this afternoon, who's going to tell more about God Squad and about a new program that he's developing in cooperation with Lakeside that we're rolling out this summer and on into the fall. So Chip, take it away.
Hello, everybody. Hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. You want to sing? Well, hey there, how do you? Hey there, how do you do? It's good to be together with you. Oh, hey there, how do you do? Sing it with me, go. Hey there, how do you do? Come on, hey there, how do you do? I really like being with you, even if it's Zoom. Hello, everyone. Love to you all. Good to see all of your faces. And this is really great. I love the checkerboard square, the Brady Bunch look. It's very cool.
I was just thinking we have to get a picture of this. All of us on Zoom singing along with Chip. That's awesome.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Well, I love that we could be a part. Thanks for inviting me, and good to see all your faces. Great to hear all the things that are happening with the religious life pillar, and to be a part of it is a privilege, as I think John and Bonnie both expressed too. For all of us, it's just a real honor, and I know that Brett feels the same way. Just to be a part of this group and to be a part of what God is doing in such an amazing way and such a lively way. There's such life happening in Lakeside, and I don't know that everyone sees it like we see it who get to be with these kids and these young families, but gosh, there's such life happening within Lakeside, and I am just so happy to be a part of it. You know, I just wanted to share with you guys just really quickly a little bit about what we're doing with Once Upon a Porch. And I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is on the Lakeside's website. And it's, if you want to read about it, you certainly can. It's just it's basically the whole idea of the project of Once Upon a Porch is happening inside Bradley Temple. The website's just lakesideohio.com/porch. That's all you got to type in if you want to read all about it. But we are halfway through the build of this just amazing set that we're making. And I don't know if you've looked at any of these photographs that have been coming. Bradley Temple is undergoing an amazing transformation, and it's incredibly exciting. And I'm so happy to be a part of it. So there's lots more, I guess there's lots more to talk about that, but I don't want to take a lot of time here today with it, but other than to say, read about it, check it out. Oh, probably the most important thing in this thing is if you go all the way to the bottom, see where it says sign up for info. If you click that, you get a chance to add your email address, and then you can get updates from me and from us as we continue to make this thing a reality. So that's a huge piece, and that's where a lot of my head has been, and a lot of my space has been, my activities have been over the winter time and continue to be. And gosh, there's just so much to talk about there. But what
That's
else?
amazing. Chip, the staff had the privilege to walk into Bradley Temple last week and see the incredible work that's being done, transforming this space to make it more accessible for families and kids. You mentioned this is year 29 for you?
Yeah, something like that.
That's amazing. Could you tell us a little bit about your adventure with God Squad over the last nearly 30 years?
My adventure with God Squad. Well, I came to Lakeside. I was introduced to Lakeside from my wife and her family. They invited me to come along on a trip. I was really a friend. I was really a friend of her brother's, who was my roommate in college. So you see how this goes? This goes way back. There you go. So my best friend from college invited me to go to this place called Lakeside with his family, and his sister and I were friends too. And we became better friends, and now we're married. So there you go. There's the beginning of Chip at Lakeside. But really, their family, they grew up coming to Lakeside like everybody does. So there's a generational thing there. Mary Beth's mom, Shirley, came to Lakeside in youth conference as a teenager. Someone paid her way, and she came, and it was a life-changing experience for her. And when they got married, they honeymooned at Lakeside. So there's some history for this family who's come a long time and has great history there. So that's my introduction to Lakeside. That's what brought me there. Speed up the story. I started doing music full time. I was leading worship in my church, and I started trying to make a way of doing music in churches and programs. I was doing music for grownups. It wasn't for kids. It was all about coffee houses and, singer-songwriter stuff, and my father-in-law, Russ, sent a press kit to Lakeside to try to just get me a show because I was trying to book gigs. And I got a phone call and an invitation to come and talk to them about something. They said, like to book a show. It was Herb Getz. So some of you on the call today may remember Herb and Marianne, who really started God Squad. Herb and Marianne Herb was the director of religion education at that time. And Herb said, hey, they had started God Squad the year before. I think this is 95 or 94, something like that. And Herb said, hey, we'd love to book a show. I love your music, but here's something else I want to tell you about. And he told me about God Squad. And he said, we'd love for you to do it. And I said, but I don't do music for kids. And he said, I know, but I think you'd be great at it. That's what he said. And I was like, okay, this is so weird, but I was trying hard to figure out a way, and I was praying really, asking for wisdom about how to make a way with this music and what I was doing. And I thought, well, there's a way to make a little bit of money doing it. And we love Lakeside. We came as a family. Our kids were little now at this time, about the age of kids that come to God Squad. That's how old our kids were when we started this. And then we said yes for that first summer. And I've said yes every summer after, and that's the beginning of it.
And we're so glad that you did. Yes, look at this incredible work. I grew up going to God Squad every once in a while. I was a shy kid, so I was kind of in the back of God Squad.
Yeah, that's okay. There's a lot of you guys out there. There's a lot of God Squad kids out there that were really shy, way in the back. But I get to talk to them now. And a lot of those God Squad kids are now parents bringing their kids, which is really kind of blows your mind, but is a beautiful thing and a wonderful thing. So
it's incredible. And Chip, the children's programming at Lakeside wouldn't be what it is without you. You are so integral to this program, and you provide so much to Lakeside. So we owe you a huge debt of gratitude. So thank you so much.
Thank you
for your work and your dedication.
My pleasure.
It's incredible. Just out of curiosity, if you or a child or a grandchild attended God Squad or MGM, could you put an X or a smiley face or a me in the chat just so we can see the impact of this incredible program? This is amazing.
And hopefully you guys can see the screen share of this is Bradley Temple. This is what you're walking into in this amazing transformation that's happening there. And Chip, alluded to the website, which has a lot of information there and has not only, Chip's vision for this coming summer, but also the extension of Once Upon a Porch being year round and going into homes. And so we hope next January at this time, we will be actually sharing Once Upon a Porch in the homes of children everywhere, just like we're connecting today, but allowing them to connect and celebrate and learn and grow through Chip's wonderful message and everything he does through God Squad, but taking that out into the community in different ways. So it's looking beautiful, Bradley. We can't wait to have everyone come over and just see what transformation of this space, because it is setting the stage for the next generation of Lakesiders.
Yeah, and this will be the set so that when folks come to Lakeside, if they haven't been to Lakeside before and they've seen it on their Zoom on the YouTube channel, then when they come to Lakeside, it'll be like going to Universal Studios and seeing like, here's the place where it takes place. And so there'll be that connection for children as they come to Lakeside. It'll be already a familiar place for them, and that's part of our idea. And this is basically Chip's idea. Has been in his. How long had you been had this dream in mind, Chip?
About 12 years.
Wow.
I went back and looked. I have a page on my website where the idea is there, and I went back to see when I published that. It was about 12 years ago. Originally when the idea came to me, I thought, wouldn't it be cool? Fred Rogers had just passed away, I think, or maybe a year before. And certainly, as you know, and this whole kids thing, music and ministry for kids, wasn't my idea. I wasn't looking to do it. But it certainly did welcome me in, and embraced me, and now has become really part of who I am. And we're really talking about what God does, how God calls us into the thing that God calls us into. So gently, right? But so persistently, never quitting, never stopping, but ever calling us in, pulling us, and God pulled me into this thing. I say a lot of times, the music and ministry for kids and families it chose me. I didn't choose it. And so here we are getting pulled in, and Mr. Rogers was a inspiration and a half. I went back, and as I'm doing this now, I'm watching and I'm realizing some things, and I'm going, look how this goes. Anyway, that idea, I thought, wouldn't it be great to do what we're doing in the summer and do it on like a TV show, well, at the time it was incredibly expensive to buy equipment, and technology was so what it was. But you will guess, look at the technology, how it's changed in these 12 years. In the last 3 years, how much streaming like we're doing right now and cameras and all that has allowed us to be able to do things like this. And so technology has kind of caught up to my dream. and also just the season that we're in and the time, it just feels like this is the season. This is God's time. And I trust that, I'm trusting it.
It's amazing. It's amazing watching it come to life over at Bradley. And I hope you all have the chance to stop over and see the amazing stuff that's happening there. So thank you so much, Chip, for all that you're doing to make this possible.
Welcome. Hey, Hannah.
Yes.
Could I just add, I've been shooting video of the whole process, and I'm editing and putting together small video clips that are going to be coming out and through the Lakeside, I'm sure, Hannah, you've already seen them and been looking at some of them too, but they're starting to just get out there. So, watch for those. And I think that adding your email address would be a good way to be in the loop if you want to see those. We're going to have those up, on a platform here. Jeannie and I need to connect and talk about exactly where these are going to land, but they are happening and they're going to be cool. I really felt it was important for us to share the process of what's happening to Bradley Temple, but I think for kids, it's important for them to see that, because boy, when they come in, if they haven't seen it or know anything about it, it's really going to be a shocker. I mean, in a good way, but still a shocker. And I kind of like to minimize as much of the shock as I could, and maybe build the anticipation. That's really the aspect of what we're doing, trying to share both the process, but also we want people to be a part of it, because there's a lot to this vision. There's a lot to this dream that will really require and invite all of us to be a part of it in so many different ways. So I'm excited about that. Okay, I'll stop talking. Sorry.
No, absolutely. That's a great point. If you aren't signed up for our e-newsletters, you can sign up online or follow us on social media, and we'll try and get updates on there too. So thanks for bringing that up, Chip. That's great. We're getting close to time, so I just want to bring out a couple last questions. I have a question for you and for Charlie. After hearing some of this, what programs are you most excited for this summer? And Charlie, what are some of the programs you're looking forward to in religious life and in some of the other pillars?
Well, thank you. One of the things that one of my privileges is to rub shoulders with some of these people, all of these people that we bring in, and to get to know them and to host them. And it is really a tremendous privilege and an honor. And like they say, the teacher always learns more than the student. And I think the host always learns more than anybody else, maybe. And it's a wonderful experience. I'm also looking forward to working with Mike Schertz on the music for Hoover this summer. In fact, the whole music program for religious life. And we've again tried to up the game in terms of bringing in more guest artists and there's more connections between the pillars, between some of the people that Shirley brings in will also be people that we'll use on Sunday morning and have that connection and through the week as well. So that's exciting for me. I want to say that I really enjoy working with my other pillar directors. John Mann and I have been working closely with the keynote speakers. There's going to be a Tuesday night, you'll hear more about this from John Mann, but Tuesday night keynote speakers at Hoover. And one of these will be Jamar Tisby that I already mentioned. One of these, of course, will be Steve Hartman, and I'm excited about hearing what he has to say. Barb and I were very excited to go to Cleveland and hear Michael Cavanaugh, who he did Billy Joel. He was Billy Joel in the Broadway musical, and Billy Joel actually handpicked him to be Billy Joel in the thing. And so he was in Cleveland, and now he's coming to Lakeside on Labor Day weekend. On the Saturday night, he'll be our closing program in Hoover, and we're very excited about that. And Jeannie, well, obviously Shirley's got a whole lineup that she'll be the next one in the series that we have. The Power of the Pillars, February 12th. Shirley and Steve Hartman will be with you and with Hannah, and I'm excited about that. You probably know, some of you know that Barb and I have a little sailboat, and we love going out sailing, and also swimming is my leisure time activity. When I get a little bit of free time at Lakeside, that's my recreation thing. And we appreciate Catalin and what she does in the recreation department and all the variety of things that she does. But those two we lift up, and I have to be honest, I'm looking forward to sailing and looking forward to swimming. And I wouldn't have done the polar bear swim if they would have had that, but I'm looking forward to summer swimming when the water warms up. My son and I always go jump in the lake on Memorial Day, no matter how cold it is. And I am not going to let him get ahead of me, so I'll be doing that again this year, even if I freeze to death doing it. So that's kind of where we are with some of these programs. Some of the moments that I'm looking forward to across pillars. Like I say, we're working together under Jeannie's leadership, and we're all excited about the coming summer and what the 150th has to offer for all of us. And there's some other special things that I won't take other people's thunder by sharing these now. But I do want to say one thing. Even though it's a snow, I thought about this afternoon. It's a blessing that we're online, because if it was, if we were trying to be in person, how many people would have been able to come to Lakeside in the middle of this snowstorm? But it's also kind of a downer that it's the same time as the Bills and Bengals game. And so I know we lost some audience because of that. But here's a spoiler alert, not this coming summer, but in 2024, we have the chaplain of the Cincinnati Bengals coming as one of our preachers of the week. And so just I'll just put that out there. And I'm not saying I'm for the Bengals or the Bills, but I'm just saying that the chaplain of the Cincinnati Bengals will be with us. And so spoiler alert. Oh, somebody just put, what was that in the chat? Somebody just put the score. What?
Yes, the Bengals are up 14-7. So
Thanks for keeping us updated.
and thank you, Bill. Bill was even giving us the visual of that up there, all the way from California. Isn't it great, these score updates?
The chaplain will be happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Charlie, this is a great segue talking about other programs. Real quick before we get off, I'm gonna just pull this up. Some of the upcoming Lakeside online programs. Book discussions. The next one Charlie mentioned is How to Fight Racism by Jamar Tisby, and Bob and Cindy Grimm are leading that, and they're on the Call If You See 'Em wave. And then Handprints on Hubble and the Upswing coming up. If you enjoyed the conversation today and want to learn more about some of the other pillars, here are the dates for the upcoming Power of the Pillar conversations. Like Charlie said, the next one is with Shirley Starry and Arts and Entertainment, with special guest Steve Hartman, who will jump on to talk a little bit about his program for the summer. Behind the Curtain programs, that's not Kathleen, so that's Daniel Meyer with the Lakeside Symphony Orchestra, and talking about the Croswell Theater later on. And then a new program that we're just launching is with Michael Schertz and Dr. DeForia Lane. If you might have attended the Finding Your Way workshop in the fall, there's an upcoming program on May 13th, and sort of as a sneak preview, they're going to do an online program in March. So save the date for that. To sign up for any of these programs, you can visit lakesideohio.com/Lakeside Online to get some more information. I also encourage you to go check out the calendar at lakesideohio.com/calendar, where tons of programs are being added every day to get the latest update on what's happening this summer. So I am counting down the days for Lakeside Summer, our big 150th anniversary celebration. And I hope this helps get you a little bit more excited too. I think Jeannie dropped in a link in the chat to fill out an evaluation about today. If there's anything you enjoyed or didn't enjoy as much, so we can improve the program for the next time. But thank you so much for joining us. Jeannie, any closing words?
Yeah, I would just say thank you very much, Hannah. You have been a wonderful host for this hour. Really thank you to Charlie, as always, for his leadership of vision and kindness. And what a blessing to have Chip and John and Bonnie joining in today. As everything with Lakeside, it's about community, it's about connection, it's about these relationships. And we're grateful that we were able to share some of what this team's vision and what our planning is happening. I will be emailing out that survey link as well. I'm also going to share with you, Charlie has worked to put together also a Lenten study, and I will email those dates with that as well. So there's so much happening, even though it's not the official season yet, we're off and running. We're grateful. We're blessed. And thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you February 6th, if not before. Thanks, guys. Have a great afternoon.